Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I still have this film on VHS.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Waxwork 2, Lost in Time, which released in 1992 from writer-director Anthony Hickox. Ian, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, instead, I'm going to read from the back. Let the movie speak for itself. A small locket is found. It is the Cartagrian, the key that opens the door to time itself. According to legend, the Cartagrian was used by angels, both black and white, to travel through time and the universe. Our unsuspecting heroes, Sarah and Mark, follow through the door and into a labyrinth of bizarre and horrific adventures. From albino aliens to the Walking Dead, Sarah and Mark battle their way from one blood-curdling confrontation to another, desperately trying to find a way out.
Mark, you said it was over! You said it was over!
Well, now that you've read that film makes total sense to me.
I
now.
know, it's nothing to do with Waxworks, though.
Right? What a misleading title. Well, I should also say that this film is one of the many reasons why I believe that you and me are still sat here today talking about films, because it's when you find a film like that you have to go to your nearest and bestest friends and be like, hey, have you ever seen this? No? Guess what we're doing tonight?
Yeah.
And it's been a long time coming to get to this film, and it's only over the course of doing these reviews that I actually get to look more deeply into Anthony Hickox and his filmmaking career. And I guess this is the end of our little mini celebration of some of his works.
Well, man, it's taken 16 bloody years of doing the show, 20 plus years of actually getting to it.
But that goes to show you that there's still plenty more gems in the rough out there for us to unearth and talk about.
Hell yeah. And it all kind of just started from, like you said, we were looking for Bruce Campbell movies.
That's right.
And this was on the list. And Jesus, where you found that VHS tape?
In a second-hand market at the bowels of town.
Yeah, it was like, wow. And so we watched it and we rewatched it and we rewatched it again. And, all right, in comparison to some of the other great 80s horror schlock movies out there, like Lost in Time, Waxworks 2 is, for some people, is on like,
it's off the radar.
Yeah. But for us, it was like, oh my God, we watched Waxwork 2 and then we had to desperately try to watch Waxwork to work out how the fuck it ever got to this point.
Well, thankfully, this film opens with a complete flashback of everything that happened. So as this was our first entry into the Waxwork series, you're just like, holy crap, what the hell happened in that first film?
And that's it. We follow Mark and Sarah coming out of the house. The house is all burning down. The hand is chasing them across the road. And at first you might go, oh, this is just like the first one. But it's a different Sarah.
Oh, yes. The actress has been swapped out because over the years between movies, the actress and the director kind of got together.
Yeah.
But their breakup was complicated, so she refused to reprise the role of Sarah, so we have a new actress here. But not only is the actress different, but also her dress is different. She left the house in a flowery dress and then arrived on the side with a polka dot dress. It's like, yeah, it's fine. Her hair also changed length, but it's been years, it's fine. But yeah, it gets to one of our first gags where they're sat in the back and like, it's over. Let's just go home, go to bed. We'll talk about it in the morning. I'm sure they're all dead. In the meanwhile, the severed arm is climbing up the back of the taxi.
Yeah, Monika Schnarre is playing Sarah, and she's still kind of playing the virginal, kind of innocent. She's hoping that everything is finished, and she's hoping that Mark was right, that they've destroyed the Waxworks and that evil has been stopped. But then she gets home and she is confronted by her stepfather, played by the awesome George Buck Flowers.
This film's just scoring points left and right.
And he's there. He's the angry alcoholic stepfather.
She even calls him stepfather. I'm like, who calls their stepfather stepfather?
Yeah, I know. It's like, your poor mother, that was her favorite dress and you've gone to ruin it. And he goes to whack her, but he stops. He holds himself back and he's just like, go to bed. I'll deal with you in the morning. And then he sits in his chair and he's mumbling. I can work out if he was mumbling to himself or if he was asleep.
Yeah.
He's kind of just there.
He was just being bug flower.
Yeah. And then you see the hand come up onto his shoulder and he thinks it's Sarah and he's telling her to go away. And then the hand attacks him.
Violently with a hammer. I mean, it tries to strangle him a little bit first, but yeah, then it goes for the hammer.
I feel like Anthony Hickox might have been inspired by another horror sequel with this, hand getting loose and grabbing things.
It does remind me of Sam Raimi's films, ever so slightly.
A little bit, yeah. But oh my God, when Sarah comes rushing down and sees the hand and then it grabs the hammer.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. It just keeps whacking him in the face.
Yeah. But then she starts wrestling with it and it gets the better of her and it starts throwing... I mean, it sprays mustard and ketchup in her face.
It turns it basically into a walking hot dog.
Right? Yeah. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's great because you're like, this is batshit insanity and the film's only just started.
Yeah. But she ends up having to throw the hand into the garbage disposal in the sink, and the garbage disposal rips it up, and we get another kind of Evil Dead 2 shot where the blood spurts out into her face.
Fantastic.
And the actress is just getting covered in blood, and she's like, Mark, you said it was over! It was over!
And here's an interesting thing you don't usually see in sequels, is that the heroes of the previous film are now in court, facing the death sentence, apparently, for the 200 bodies that were found in the burnt-up remains of the Waxworks.
Well, I think she's being tried for the murder
of her stepfather, but there's a link.
But there's all a link to the house as well, because she has said to them, look, it was this hand, but there's no evidence, and she's facing the death penalty. But luckily, she gets bailed out, and her and Mark leave.
Well, it's because Mark literally bursts in screaming insanity, like, you gotta believe her! I was like, well, his acting's definitely improved after the school scene where he burst in to remove her.
Yeah, but she's on trial for murder. I don't think even during the court, they just don't let the criminal out and go, yeah, okay, you can go off and find the evidence if you can find it.
Right. Well, that's what the whole premise of the film is now, is to find the evidence that will exonerate Sarah from being sentenced to jail.
Yeah.
Did you notice the actor playing the judge?
No.
It was the Nazi teacher from the original movie.
Oh, no way. But they head back, I assume they head back to Mark's house or his uncle's house.
I think they head to Wilfred's, yeah.
The Wilfred's house, and they come across a video from Sir Wilfred who explains to them that, if you're watching this video, something bad has happened to me. But Mark, you are now the hero. I am gifting you the artifacts that myself and your grandfather acquired over our time while we were trying to defeat David Warner. And one of them is the Cartagrian, this tiny locket which can open magical doors through time and space. And they open it, and it opens up this blue swirly thing in a mirror. Well, actually, that's right. It was the Alice in Wonderland quote. We get that at the beginning, and we get the fact that they've got to travel through this mirror. And so they do. But unfortunately, they get separated through time.
They're both just falling, and then these vampire bat things come and carry Sarah away.
Those bat things reminded me of the bat things from Sundown.
Absolutely.
I was like, fucking hell yeah.
I mean, this film is almost a Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat reunion.
Yes.
But yeah, Mark lands on his own. He turns around and he's like, Sarah? I'm like, she got separated, you idiot. Well, you were there.
And he finds himself in the lobby of Baron von Victor Frankenstein's house, played by Martin Kemp, of all people.
Right? He's like British soap opera actor.
I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I mean, he's a great actor. I mean, I recently saw him in Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. I would have brought that up in a conversation. I'd been like, dude, you were in Lost in Time. That's one of the greatest fucking movies ever made. But the local villagers have turned up as well, and they're
pitchforks in arms.
Yeah, they're upset that supposedly Frankenstein has been stealing corpses and bringing them back to life and making his own monster. But Sarah is there as well with a completely different wig.
Right. It's actually one of the better looking wigs in this film, because there's a lot of awful ones.
There are some bad ones.
again, she's sort of under the spell of the illusion of the Waxworks.
Yes.
And so Mark's just like, hey, Sarah, snap out of it. Remember, you've just got to not believe in this or you'll fall under the spell and then everything is real.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where Mark ends up having to do slave work for Frankenstein, and he's feeding Frankenstein's monster. He doesn't want to feed him the slop, so he feeds him the leftovers. But eventually he is like being accosted by Frankenstein's other butler.
Yeah.
And he's just like, go on then, hit me. It's not real. I don't believe it.
You're not going to hurt me.
Bang! Down he goes. I'm like, okay, so the rules are definitely different this time.
Well, that's it. For me, it's like they're not in the Waxwork exhibits. They've actually traveled through time, and I also like to think through dimensions, because, Frankenstein's a fictional character.
Right.
He's not really real. He's not based in history, but this magical device can take you to different places where evil characters exist, and as a time warrior, and on the side of good and God, you've got to try to defeat them. So Mark making friends with the monster plays into that. I don't want to feed you the slop. You can't eat that, but I'll give you these bits, which then pays off because the monster actually tries to help him later on when it does escape. But the villagers do turn up and they attempt to obviously destroy the building, and Frankenstein's all pissed off because he realizes that Sarah and because he calls him Heinrich.
Right.
But he's not really Heinrich, he's Mark, but that they might be sleeping together. And the hunchback. Oh God, he was annoying.
So exaggerated, but everything in this film is, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Because he eventually gets done in by Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
As does Frankenstein himself in a gory and comical fashion.
Yes.
He gets his head squished, so he starts spitting all of his teeth. And he gets his eyes gouged so they pop out. And then he gets his head squished so that his brain pops out and flies across the room for Mark to catch.
And through all this as well, Mark's just like, okay, if I can get Frankenstein's book and take it back to the future with us or to our own timeline, I can show them the evidence that, the undead can be brought back to life and this hand was brought back. But he keeps losing the evidence as well. He also, he finds the gateway and he's able to send Sarah through it, but then he's got to go find his own gateway, doesn't he?
That's right, yeah. And so they get separated again.
Yeah.
This time Mark's found himself in another black and white movie.
Yes.
We also get introduced to Marina Sirtis.
Yes.
And Bruce Campbell.
So good. They've
turned up at this haunted location to prove the existence of ghosts once and for all. And I love the shot where you've got the broken down mansion in front of them, and the camera pans up over this model into space.
Yeah.
You're like a spaceship in the earth there. That's actually a nice transition.
Yeah. And it turns out that Sarah is on board this spaceship and she's got this crew. And so you're kind of, even though Mark has just turned up into his spot and is trying to, come to terms with who he is in this story, it turns out that Sarah is obviously, been in her bit for a little while with her crew. And it's kind of almost parody.
Yeah, it is.
But it is also Anthony Hickox going, look, most of these people will know these movies, so I'm just going to steal little bits. And so Mark is in kind of like the House on Haunted Hill, the haunting kind of black and white old school ghost stories. I mean, I love the way they keep hearing the noises and then he keeps putting his hands on his ears. He's like, ah! While the camera's zooming in and out. And Sarah is on board her space station and it's a massive alien ripoff.
Yeah, we've already got somebody who's had their innards ripped out or something burst from them.
Yeah.
Somebody's complaining they didn't know that they'd let aliens on board.
Yeah, man. And one of those characters is my good friend from Grease 2, Maxwell Caulfield.
He's back again.
Yeah. He dies very quickly. It's fine.
Yeah. So we got all this build up as they explain that the aliens are coming down onto the elevator, onto their floor. They're all armed up, and then the reveal of the alien, and you're like, what is that?
What the fuck is that? I kind of think it's cool, but it would be cool if I was playing laser tag.
Yeah.
With my friends at like a 12-year-old birthday or something, and you see this thing running down the corridor, you'd be like, oh my God, scary. In the film, you're like, oh my God.
Awful.
Yeah. I just left it as, oh my God.
Yeah.
But then we cut back to Mark and the ghost crew, and fucking Bruce Campbell in this. Like this man deserves awards.
Oh, he does.
Like I do love me some Mariana Sirtis. Deanna Troi, she's absolutely great. But it's like Mark sees the ghost, and the ghost gives him a clue of where possibly, the body that you need to, put like holy water on and free the spirit is. But the other investigator, Eleanor, she's like screaming in the corridor, so Mark goes and finds her, and then she points up, and there's Deanna Troi hanging from the fucking ceiling.
Oh, wow, she didn't last long.
It's the swinging, and then the stop.
Right, it's like a freeze frame, so it's so awkward.
And then the stare, and the point.
I'm pretty sure there's a continuity of which arm was out as well, but you're still just like, Marina Sirtis is dead.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that was quick. But Eleanor gets lured down into the basement by the ghosts, and so then Mark goes down after her, and somehow Bruce Campbell's character has been kind of strung up and has his chest opened, and there's kind of a bird ripping at his ribs.
Like, how did that happen, and how are you still alive?
Yeah. And the weird thing is, because I look on Wiki for my notes and stuff, so Mark's full name is Mark Loftmore.
That's also Bruce Campbell's character is a Loftmore.
John Loftmore. And so I'm like, are they connected?
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing he is a relation of some kind.
Or was it just cheap writing?
I don't know. Because it could be. Because I know that Waxwork 1 was written in like 3 days. And I imagine this one was written in less time.
But yeah, you just get this great comedy moment now with Bruce Campbell tied up, and Mark goes to release him with the rope, and then the fucking whole thing crashes onto the ground, crushing his ribs. And then you just get the awesome Bruce Campbell reacting to Mark pulling him up and then pulling out chunks of stone and bits of bone from his ribs and stuff. But the blood stain on the floor symbolizes that is where the little girl's body is. And so, Bruce Campbell's character's like, look, we need to free her spirit. But Eleanor gets possessed by the evil father ghost thingy.
That's right. And then she lobs a bag of salt at Bruce Campbell's open chest.
Oh, God. Just the different things she's throwing at him.
So while he's screaming in pain after all the other things that's been thrown at him, he's like, I need some water. Help, get the salt off. And Mark grabs the nearest bottle of liquid and throws it on him before we reveal that it was vinegar. He's just like, oh my God.
It's the way he's like, it's numb now.
He does eventually say, oh, don't worry about me. It's just a flesh wound. I'm like, but it's his delivery. It's Bruce Campbell. Perfect here.
Water! Oh, goodness me! It's all right. It's going numb.
And we cut back to Sarah on the space station. They've blown a hole inside the space station and then floated down in their spacesuits to a shuttle that they've got nearby. And then she's hoping to escape. And she's obviously, the actress in another bad wig is trying to do her best Ellen Ripley impression as she can. And so she's talking about how luckily her and this other guy that are surviving didn't eat the soup, which is where the aliens came from. And the guy's like, and then he starts reacting.
And we get this weird fucking thing come out of his face, out of his mouth, and then it starts attaching itself to Sarah in a weird kind of perverted facehuggery way.
Yeah.
But then our hero, Mark, turns up just in the nick of time to save her from this other alien thing.
Yeah.
But he's transformed from the last time we saw him as well, because he's been on another mission since then where he's like, look, I lost the book and I lost this other thing, but now I've got this which is going to prove
voodoo board.
Right. He's pulling the arrows out of it like he's been targeted by the natives.
Yeah.
What is it?
What is it? It's a voodoo Petro coffin for bringing the dead back to life. I've got an instruction booklet and the Eye of Newt, magic crystals and everything.
But before they can even finish the sentence, there's an explosion and the aliens turn up again. But there's also a countdown timer for the ship exploding.
Yeah.
And so they desperately try to get a portal open, but they can't quite get to the the device, and they end up going through the portal and abandoning the device that would get them home.
Yeah. And they end up in merry old ye old England. I'm like, out of all the places you could come with cheap, budget restraints, you had to come here. Because Mark's still got terrible hair.
Yeah, that's a new wig.
Yeah, Sarah kind of looks like a princess. And we watch these armored guards turn up and just pick her up and whisk her away.
Yeah. And so Mark turns around and immediately, there's David Carradine just sat there.
Yeah. David Carradine is just sat there talking about Scarabaeus, played by Alexander Godunov, who played Carl in Die Hard, and how Scarabaeus is like an agent of Satan, and he's got some evil kind of plans where he's wanting to get hold of King Arthur, played by John Ireland.
Yay!
From Sundown Retreat of the Last Vampire. I'm like, this fucking movie, just like amazing.
Sadly, John Ireland's last feature film.
But Scarabaeus is hoping to get hold of King Arthur and then morph himself into King Arthur so that he can take over the whole
kingdom.
Town. Kingdom. But in this, Sarah's character is the sister of Scarabaeus, and Scarabaeus wants to marry her.
Yeah.
Because of reasons.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure why the whole incestual angle came from, but part of the super villainy, I suppose.
Make him like super evil and stuff.
Yeah.
Mark watches him turn a woman into like a weird panther werewolf thing.
Right. And then he's also thrown in jail with a big cage on his head.
Yeah. And it is just ultimately building up to this big fight between Scarabaeus and Mark. But you've also got George, Scarabaeus's kind of little henchman, who's just kind of weird and, just always hanging around. And you get the whole sequence as well where they're trying to have dinner with the king there, and all of the digesters there, and all of Scarabaeus's armed guards are there as well. But they drug the king, and Scarabaeus is like, oh, he's feeling pretty faint. We must take him off to his room to let him rest. But then while the king is in his room, that's when Scarabaeus and his evil acolyte of satanic worshippers use their magic to try to change him into the king. Which then confuses all of the king's guards because they're like, oh, I thought you were in your bedroom. And Scarabaeus is like, no, I'm your king. You're going to have to listen to me. And Mark's just like, because Mark gets released, doesn't he, from the jail?
It's a raven turns up, and it turns out that it's Sir Wilfrid. Yeah. He's just like, look, I can't give you all the answers. I can give you just a few bits of advice, but, just do this and do that. And then he flies off, and he's like, good luck.
Yeah.
But one of the favorite things that he says to Mark, he's like, oh yeah, all this is just a Nintendo game being played by the devil and by God to balance out good and evil across the realms. And so God likes to have time warriors that will fight for the good fight against all of the villains across the dimensions.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Off you go. Take your sword and try to save the world.
Sarah and you have actually stumbled into God's Nintendo game.
No.
Oh, yes, where he and the devil fight it out, using their various time warriors as different characters, forever trying to tip that delicate balance one way or another.
And so Mark does come across the king's guards and explains to them that, this is what's happening. So they go into the room.
Director's cameo again, as one of the guards is director Anthony Hickox.
Ah, nice. Playing a prince, I suppose, from the first one.
Right.
But they go into the room and they confront Scarabaeus, who is looking like the king. He's, John Ireland. But the knight mentions that his signet ring is not there. And so, the fake king is just like, ring? What ring? Huh? And then he obviously goes off to escape. And Mark and the knight go into a secret hidden room and find the real king there and help him escape. And you have got that guard, haven't you? You go, oh, was I supposed to hold them? Because he looked like the king. I'm completely confused what I'm supposed to do.
The man I asked you to hold. Where is he?
He left. He was the king, wasn't he? I couldn't have stopped him. Could I?
And they just start having this battle among the inside the castle among the prisoners that Mark has released and the guards that are obviously on Scarabaeus' side. And it comes down to a big confrontation sword fight between Scarabaeus and Mark, who start dimension hopping while they're sword fighting.
Now, this was the original intended ending for Waxwork 1, but as we know, they ran out of time and it just became a big barroom brawl instead.
Yeah.
So now in Waxwork 2, we get to see how the original film was going to end, with them bouncing from scenario to genre to film to everything across continuously sword fighting. It's the moment when they land in Tokyo and there is a Godzilla there and they're both just like, they stop fighting to be like, oh crap.
Yeah. I mean, the Dawn of the Dead ripoff is
The
pretty
best
damn
part.
good.
They that mall looked great. All the zombie makeup looked great. You were just like, wait a minute, it looks like they're actually there in the mall.
Yeah. And there's that other point as well, that they confront Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And force him into, like, Nosferatu's world.
Yeah. Did you notice one of the ladies in the bed?
No.
Drew Barrymore was a good friend of the director, and so she turned up on set and she was like, yeah, I'll be one of those.
For a second, I was like, that lady does kind of look like Drew Barrymore, but there was no way. I was like, there's no way she'd have been in that movie.
Yep.
Amazing. And then after Sarah has killed George, because they've had their little fight as well, Scarabus and Mark are fighting among the prisoners, and the mutant lion woman grabs Scarabus and kills him.
Brilliant.
Justification, I suppose.
Yeah. It was set up and it paid off.
But Mark had been told by Sir Wilfrid the Raven that, you know, the portal that they utilize can only be used twice, to step through and step back out. And if that happens, then you can't do these things anymore. Mark opens up a portal and is wanting to send Sarah back home, but it's not big enough for the both of them. So he's opting to stay back. And we'd already kind of got a brief glimpse when they'd been in the attic at the beginning, before they got the locket, that Sarah had been drawn to this portrait that she couldn't really see the face of. But once she's gone through the portal, and once she's returned back to the real world with a zombie hand that Mark has given her, with the evidence on show in the court, everyone's like, oh, there's no way she could have killed her father, her stepfather, sorry. Because look, she has a zombie hand, just like that she said she would. And she realizes the portrait that she saw in the attic, when she pulls the sheet back, is Mark. He'd obviously stayed behind. He'd worked with the knights. He's become a time warrior. He's done things, I suppose. Like, I'm not questioning how time travel works in this fucking movie. Okay, I have been through it all with Terminator Dark Fate and Avengers and all that. Lost in Time just works on its own rules, okay?
Oh, yeah. And but then while she's been found not guilty and she's leaving the courtroom, a courier arrives like, this was meant to be delivered to you. It was given even before my grandfather's time.
Back
to be
to
here
the
now.
Future 2 ending right there.
Yeah. And there's just a little note that says, join me, and here's the device so that you can jump through the portal and come and be a time warrior with me now that you've exonerated and cleared your name.
Yes.
Like, well, she never had to go back in the first place then, did she, to have to clear her name? She just stayed.
I suppose she was always living with guilt, wasn't she? There's a point that Mark says to her that it wasn't her fault that everybody else died in the Waxwork building.
Yeah.
You know, that was really their own choice. But she's been living with that guilt, and she's needing the evidence because nobody believes her because of her stepfather's death, and there's like a whole... Like, the acting's not great, but the drama's there.
Yeah. I mean, you got to wrap it up somehow.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's kind of sweet when she's driving off in the taxi and we see the light and we know that she's gone and joined Mark.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, towards the end, when Mark's watching her go, he's like, I love you. And I'm like, where did that come from?
No, he needed somebody. Like,
True,
he wasn't going to get with China.
No. Well, Ian, what were your favourite scenes from Waxwork 2?
Oh man, there's just so many. It's just so fun. I was thinking this before I even hit play to watch it for the review. I was like, oh, what are my favourite sequences? What do I remember? And I majorly remembered Bruce Campbell and the whole black and white sequence, which is just funny. I remember, Zach Galligan jumping through these different places, fighting, obviously Carl from Die Hard and sword fightings and things like that. But, like, I don't want to say the entire movie because there are some moments that you're just like, it's a bit dragging. But I can't help it. The whole fucking movie, it's just stupidly absurd. You know, from the very beginning where the Waxwork building is burnt down, that you're following from the first movie, and you're watching that hand go around, the hammer hitting George Buck Flowers in the face, Maxwell Caulfield getting killed by that terrible alien, David Carradine turning up at the end and giving Mark a sword and saying, you've got to go defeat Scarabus. I love it all. I'll take it all. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, yeah, from start to finish, this film is a blast. But I will say the medieval times, the London King Arthur stuff, it's the longest sequence in the whole film. It's where we actually have a villain and an antagonist and some peril. But it does drag just a little bit too much compared to the frenetic, short action bursts of the other locations. And of course, at this point, you're like, Bruce Campbell's not coming back, is he?
No, he's not coming back. He's like the main name on the VHS. Right, yeah. It's like he's in it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. But those were great 10 minutes. And so all the sequences with Bruce Campbell in this are hilarious. It is full-blown Evil Dead 2 mode, and I'm there for it, and I love it.
Yeah.
George Buck Flower, every time this man turns up in a film, I'm like, he is amazing.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. He is so gruff and rough and disheveled and horrible and mean and nasty. But he's just such a wonderful character actor that you just love it. And seeing him get his comeuppance by a severed hand, wielding a hammer, you're like, this is great. I'm fucking in. Dr. Frankenstein getting his comeuppance as well as he gets absolutely massacred by the monster. It's just great. It's so cartoonish, but it's great. And I guess the most memorable thing for me is when Sir Wilfrid explains like everything is just a video game. It's just God and the devil playing each other, and this is the game that you're in the sandbox of. It's like, what an explanation.
Hey, I gotta admit, I totally forgot this music, the pop music video at the end of the fucking credits.
Oh god, yeah, it's got its own song.
It's got its own song.
Yeah.
Lost in time like a bug in a jar, no matter where you go, there you are. Lost in time like a bug in a jar, no matter where you go, there you are. Lost in time like a bug in a jar, no matter where you go, there you are.
Ian, you recommend Waxwork 2?
Hell yeah, I recommend Waxwork 2. If you've watched Waxwork 1, you have to do Lost in Time. If you're a Bruce Campbell fan, you have to do Lost in Time. It's weird, it's wacky, it's eye-popping, it's brain-popping, it's silly, it's all over the place. It's like maybe 5-10 minutes, a little bit too long, but they've got to pad it out because otherwise it's just a massive parody movie all the way through. And maybe that's what it was supposed to be. Maybe it was supposed to just be fun. Part of me's really sad that A, we haven't had a remake, and B, there was no Waxwork 3 because I'd have fucking bought that shit up. We need it. I mean, Jesus Christ, I sat through and kind of watched the new fucking I Know What You Did last summer movie. I watched World War Z. We need Waxwork 2 Lost in Time remake.
Yes, we definitely need a sequel to this film. We need the trilogy to complete. Sadly, Anthony Hickox is no longer with us, but I don't know. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
But yes, I am absolutely recommending Waxwork 2. Lost in Time, as this film packs in so much horror nostalgia from many different eras with great respect while still having fun with it. The premise is really simple, the plot straightforward, but the obstacles and bizarre turns of events make every encounter unpredictable and wild and almost never dull with such over-the-top performances and gory gags. There is, of course, plenty to criticise. The bad wigs, the awkward line deliveries, the poor compositing, the obvious puppetry, the uneven tone, the slow pacing in certain areas, etc., etc. But for this film, for me, it just never mattered. It's all very charming, high energy, and thoroughly entertaining from start to finish. It's a fantastic trip through horror history with some excellent camera work and set pieces, along with some great direction and exaggerated camera stuff. If none of that was enough for you, Bruce Campbell steals his sequence with a great Evil Dead 2-ish nod that makes this unforgettable. This is really worth a watch and a rewatch. A killer waiting in the past, present, and future. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Like a bug in a jar, no matter where you go, there you are. Lost in time, like a bug in a jar, no matter where you go, there you are. Wax it, tax it, Wax Work 2, what the hell can you...
no, no!